We are so excited to have returning to the show pitcher for the Toronto Blue Jays organization, currently in Double-A with the New Hampshire Fisher Cats. Chad Dallas, welcome back to the Walk-Off, man. Thanks so much for taking the time.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Hey, to start with, dude, you've been killing it all season, lighting it on fire in Vancouver. You just got promoted to Double-A, so a big congratulations in order, man. Well done.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
How did the call-up go? How did they let you know? Were you kind of expecting it?
I knew that there was possibly a chance, but I didn't want to jinx it, so I just kind of kept my mind off of it. But pitching coach just pulled me in to the office and started talking about the bullpen that I'd thrown that day and some things that he wanted to do, maybe give me some extra time off, I think, because I think I'd thrown Wednesday, and then first start in Double-A was on a Friday. So he was telling me that I was getting these days backed up. But he explained it saying, like, there's a long season, you don't want to overdo yourself early. And I was like, all right, whatever. And then he's like, I'm just not going to be there because you're heading to New Hampshire. And I was like, oh, perfect. Let's go. I like
that. So out of curiosity, buddy, like when you're on the verge of a call up like that, and obviously you can kind of feel it as a player when you're getting close, how do you stay out of your head? Like, how do you not find yourself concentrating on that and still being able to go out there and concentrate on what you should be doing, which is living in the now and completing games as you're on the mound? Yeah.
It's definitely a challenge because obviously that's like the next goal before the big goal, obviously, of the big leagues is you got to, get through some levels. So, I mean, you're thinking about it. The best thing to do, I mean, it's kind of hard. You just have to try to block it out, and there's no really way to explain it. You just got to try to keep your mind on different things. And so, yeah, it was tough though, because that's what you want to do. You feel like you're close to it, but it has to be good timing with room on each team, I should say.
I know you're only 16 innings into Double-A currently, but what's the biggest difference you have found already pitching for Vancouver in High A compared to New Hampshire and Double-A?
Yeah, the biggest thing is people stick to their approaches every level you go up a little more. So, like you see more free swinging the lower levels, and then each level that you go up, if they're sitting off speed, soft outside, and you go fastball inside, there's a good chance they're not going to react and swing on it, especially early in the count. So there's pros and cons to that, like the free swinging people, quick outs or quick runs. So depending on how good they get it. So, but yeah, I think just people sticking to their plan and making adjustments more often.
Well, you've always been a guy who can get a strikeout when you need it. But your Ks are up this year, even though that's something you've done your whole career. Your strikeouts are up, 52 of them in 43 innings. Is this increase due to any mechanical or physical change, or is this just you a little older, a little wiser, a little more experienced?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is more mentality. I'm throwing a change up a little more often this year, mixing in a cutter now, a true cutter. And so, but I think it was a lot mentally of just throwing everything in the zone. I think last year I kind of ran away from the barrel, gave the hitters too much prop last year. And so this year just kind of wanted to focus on only the things that I can control, was trying to get in the box. And the last outing was a little rough, but other than that, I've been trying to, fill up the strike zone as much as I can, and it's worked out pretty good so far.
Out of curiosity, buddy, when you need a strikeout, so let's say there's a guy on third, one out, does your mentality change with the hitter you're facing?
I mean, the plan changes. I don't know if really the other stuff changes. You still got to give them 3 strikes, or at least one, maybe 2 have to be in the zone. The third one can maybe get a chase or something. But for the most part, we got to still be in the zone no matter who it is. You got to give them a chance.
You mentioned the cutter, and I could be wrong, but I think that's new since the last time we talked. That's a pretty new addition to your repertoire this year.
Yes,
okay.
Yeah,
How is that going? How's your feel on that right now?
It's going all right. You know, we don't try to force it into the game. If we see something that, you know, maybe can let's say like they're sitting slider, you know, I throw a lot of sliders. If they're sitting slider, you know, we can throw the cutter because the spin's going to look somewhat the same, but it's going to be harder and it's going to get a little bit of movement. And so that doesn't, if they're spitting on the slider and they're only swinging at fastballs, that's just going to throw them off completely. And so then I have two pitches back now. Instead of the slider and fastball, I have fastball and cutter. And then you can start moving in the slider if you're landing the cutter. So,
yeah, right.
But it's feeling good. So we started throwing it in spring training, just kind of messing around because I'll cut my fastball every once in a while on accident. So we're just seeing if I can do it on purpose. And it's been good so far, throwing it to righties and lefties. I feel comfortable throwing it. Still working on getting comfortable enough for it to be a get back in the count pitch. So we'll see how.
I like that you mentioned that. Because my next question was going to be, are you throwing this to both righties and lefties? So I love hearing that.
Yes. Not often to either, but some.
Right. Yeah. So another thing that you have really improved on this season is that you're going deeper into games, buddy. You're just putting up more innings. You're averaging almost just under 6 innings a game this year. Is that something that you kind of focused on over the off season? Obviously, we mentioned your strikeouts, and whenever you're a strikeout guy, you're just going to throw more pitches. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like you've kind of found that happy medium between Ks and still going deeper into games?
Yeah. I mean, and it all starts with strikes. You know, if you're walking people, you're not going to go too deep. You know, the pitch count's just getting too high. So getting in the zone. And then for me, I'll take as many ground outs as possible, especially if they're early in the count. Get me as deep as possible into the game. Strikeouts will come the longer you go in the game, but I'll take as many ground outs as possible.
Another thing that's helping going deeper in the game, buddy, and you touched on this a little bit, your whip rate, like you're just not walking or getting hits. It's pretty impressive. You've got to feel pretty validated on how much you're limiting your walks, eh?
Yeah, it's been good. Like I said, the last outing was a little sketchy, but you know, every day we're not going to have our best stuff. So that's already passed us, and we're looking forward to this week. But yeah, just filling up the zone, and you know, not worrying if they're going to hit it. If they hit it, oh well, just let it happen.
I forget who it was that said this. I think it was Joe Siddall on the Blue Jays broadcast who mentioned that when you're a pitcher, you have out of 30 starts a year, you have 5 that you're just everything works for you. Mm-hmm. 5 that nothing works for you. And then 20 that it depends how that's what really makes a career there. Do you feel that?
Exactly. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, the other week I just couldn't really get comfortable and couldn't really find the adjustment. So just one of those baseball days where you're the windshield, or you're the bug, sorry, and baseball's the windshield. So other days it's flipped, and those days are really good. But getting through the days where you're the bug is that's where your career's made, of course.
I know you, and you mentioned it. Your changeup has been good this season. I know last time we chatted, you even said that you're working on your changeup, and then you corrected yourself and you were like, but I'm always working on my changeup.
Yeah.
Do you feel that? Is that still something that is still has it come a long way?
It's definitely, I don't know if long way is the term yet. Cause still only throwing it a couple times in game, but it's feeling better in bullpens. It's feeling better off the release, and it's just a couple grip changes and a couple thoughts on cues on the pitch to kind of get that feeling. So I will throw it. If I'll throw it for a strike or not, it's kind of iffy, but I will throw it. So it's going to be in the hitter's head at least once in the game.
Hence you're always working on it, eh?
Exactly. Always.
Always a work in progress. Love it. Out of curiosity, buddy, are you doing any velo training? It's funny because I know you're 22, you just got up to double A, and I know a lot of pitchers at that level concentrate on just increasing their
Mhm.
velo. Is that something you're working on? And what does velo training look like?
Yeah. So you do which I always am. I did a lot this off season and it's helped so far. But there's a lot of mound work that you can do either with weighted balls like plyos, or water bag drills that just is basically mechanic work, but keeping everything strong. And
So what
um,
does that entail? You're literally throwing bags of water kind of thing?
it's like a big plastic ball with handles on the side, and you fill it like halfway up with water. So it moves around as you move, and kind of you can go through your motion with the leg kick and stride, and just kind of you move, keep
Okay.
everything, got core working, got lower legs working. And, yeah, I don't know all the science behind it, but that's what kind of it does for me.
Yeah, sometimes I'm the same. Sometimes you just got to let
Yeah,
the smart people tell you what works. Yeah.
exactly,
Uh,
exactly.
what are you hitting these days? Do you have a goal for like a number?
Uh, the number is just just try to stay low to mid, try to get some five sixes in there, and then
Yeah.
for the season it's just hold it as long as possible, try to go the whole season keeping the same numbers, or at least close to that.
And right now you're around that 94, 95 range.
Yeah, probably throwing some 93s, maybe
Yeah.
some 92s, I don't know, something like that.
I'm trying to bump you up here, Chad. Just
I
flow with
know,
it.
I know, I know, I know. Gotta stay humble.
I love it, man. I love it. So every baseball player slumps. I mean, it's just unfortunately part of the
Mhm.
game. We're seeing it, and you see it out of guys you don't think can slump too. Like Big Puma there with the big club. Alek Manoah is really hitting a wall for the first time in his career. I know that you have had some struggles in your career as well. When you're in the thick of it, how do you, and I know this is a ridiculous question because staying positive is really tough, but
Yeah,
how do you not continue to like get in that quicksand and really sink? And now that you've kind of where you're at now, can you use those past slumps to maybe not avoid upcoming slumps, but just help yourself with the mental side of things when you do hit it?
for sure. Yeah, I talk about that a lot because last year was very tough for me. Um, like you said, like it was one of the first times where I've just kind of consecutively struggled, and I didn't really necessarily. I don't know. I couldn't find out how to get out of it, and so I think um, I think it's just this staying positive is not the thought process of um, you know, I got to get back to Cy Young voting. I got to get
Yeah.
back to the best pitcher in the league. It's hey, how do I throw more strikes? Like, what's going to get me to throw more strikes? Or maybe it's just reading what people's plan on you is. Maybe it's not anything different other than maybe you're throwing less strikes, or maybe there's no conviction behind the pitches. But yeah, I always look back. Like even after this last outing, I looked back to last year and was like, it felt like a last year outing, and it was weird. But I just sat down and was like, that's not the pitcher you are, just one of those days. So this
Mhm.
week we're gonna get after it in the bullpen and fill up the zone when my pitching day comes. But yeah, like you said, if you're struggling and you start thinking about, how do I get back? How do I get moved up? It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough. And it took me a while to get out of that last year.
The psychology of baseball is so funny to me. Like, it's just like, here's a sport with the most possible games you
Mm-hmm.
could play in a season. And also, you have to have the shortest memory of any sport out there. Like, it's just like,
Exactly.
it's not even game to game, man. It's pitch to pitch
Exactly.
sometimes.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is for sure.
So now that you are on the other side of this, and I think that's one thing that maybe gets lost on people when guys are, I know Alek Manoah is getting it from the fans sometimes, which is really a shame. And I think the biggest thing with him, if you haven't hit that wall before, if you haven't struggled before, you feel kind of like you're flailing, right? Like when you were going through it, how often were you leaning on teammates and coaches who have maybe been there, done that?
Every day, me and the pitching coach talked. But a lot of it wasn't about, a lot of it wasn't even about, how am I going to get better? A lot of it was just like he knew the situation I was in. And it was just talking, just having good conversation about life, family stuff,
Mm-hmm.
maybe some baseball stuff here and there. But it was really just he was there getting my head in the right space. And that helped a lot. And it was a lot of coaches, a lot of players. Because everybody struggled. So it was nice having some people there that kind of knew what I was going through, and so just letting me talk through it. It was nice.
It is funny how it's almost like when you're in those slumps and you're struggling, and it's funny because like Adam and I are stand-up comics, and for the
Mm-hmm.
most part, like I have my act, I know when it's gonna do well, but there are just off days, right? And it's
Yeah,
it's like you
exactly.
said, like the last thing you should be doing is getting in your head being like, oh no, I'm not funny. Like that,
Yeah,
that
exactly.
like as soon as you start to doubt yourself there. So it's nice to have someone who has been through it and can kind of, like you said, right? It's not even dissect what happened in the game or
Yeah.
dissect what you need to do baseball wise. It's like almost getting yourself out of your
Yeah.
head. And I
Cool.
am curious about this because mound meetings,
Mm-hmm.
right? And with mound visits being limited these days, obviously it's mostly all business, but there has
Yeah.
had to have been moments in your career where maybe the catcher comes out or the pitching coach comes out and they're not even talking baseball, right? It's almost like get your head off what you're doing and just see what happens from there, right? Can
Yeah.
for the kids out there, can you take us through a regular mound visit and then maybe a mound visit where you're like, oh shit, like they're just busting my
Yeah.
balls right now or whatever? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Drew Hayes, our pitching coach, he came out or he's had a mound visit. I think every sort of had this in New Hampshire so far, and usually comes up. He goes, "I don't really need anything, just giving you a breather." And I go, "All right, I appreciate it." And then he goes, "What you thinking?" And I usually say, "Probably gonna go no sign slider to the catcher." The catcher goes, "Hell yeah, we are." And then after the ump gets there, he goes away and he goes, "All right, let's go get him." That's usually about it. But
Yeah.
I mean, he's usually just trying to get out there, give you a breather after maybe an error or four pitch walk, or something just unfortunate happens, and he's trying to give you a breather, kind of get your mind off of what just happened and get you focused on what's about to happen.
So, Chad, I had a message from a listener. He was a 14-year-old or is a 14-year-old shortstop, and he was really
Gotcha.
down on himself. His coach was running drills where he's got to flip the ball to the second baseman. They were practicing double plays,
Mm-hmm.
and he was just like so frustrated with getting it down. And he was
Yeah.
just talking about how it's such a short little flip, and and all you can tell the kid at that moment is like, you just got to keep doing it. Like it's going to click.
Yeah.
So for this kid and some of the young baseball players out there who are listening, what is something that you're good at now, but you did suck at for a while before you kind of figured it out?
Yeah. I mean, heck, I mean, you think of any pitch. I was never, when I was first learning a pitch, it wasn't good. So, and heck, even like we can throw pitching in there. I wasn't like just a real pitcher until maybe senior year of high school or maybe even freshman year of college. So, but that's just something, it's just a lot of repetitions. And then, for that kid listening, go outside, draw a little chalk circle on the side of your house. If it's brick, don't mess up your house. Uh, don't mess up your house and get in trouble. But if you can, or just get a piece of paper, tape it to the wall, and step a couple feet behind it. Act like you're taking a ground ball and just flip it to that paper over and over and over. And if your coaches yell at you, just take it. They're not that mad at you. They just want you to get it down. And so, everybody needs to get yelled at nowadays.
Yeah.
I still live by that. Uh, how many times my father and every other coach have yelled at me? I'm still fine. I'm still fine.
Yeah.
I don't, can't get upset when you get yelled at because it's probably your fault anyways.
I love it. I love it, buddy. We're taking a hard left here. What's New Hampshire like? I'm guessing it's a little bit sleepier of a city than, or a little bit sleepier place to play in than Vancouver was.
Yeah, I mean, there's less fans, but the fans that are there, they're usually solid, so that's nice. But yeah, I don't, those Vancouver fans, I mean, they show out, big time. So I don't know if any yard in minor league baseball can compete with them.
So I know you did just mention your dad there, and it was pretty darn cool on June 2nd to see Major League Baseball kind of raise funds and awareness for ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease. Mm-hmm. I know I watched that video that you released on Twitter. With your experience dealing with ALS within your family and the fact that your dad was just diagnosed with it in 2019 in his current battle, man, and mm-hmm. I was just so impressed with how open and honest you were about it. And I think that's really important. It must have been a really good feeling to the sport that you've literally given your life to have them advocate and make such a big deal out of it.
Yeah, it's really cool. And mainly because like them just putting it out there, because not many people know much about it. Like I said in the video, my family and I knew nothing other than seeing the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge. And so obviously when somebody that gets diagnosed, you have to research it. You got to figure things out. And you also need to find out what's real and what's not, because, something with that, like that type of disease, you don't want to be seeing the wrong answers on Google. So you got to find the good articles with good sources and stuff. But so and we stay open because that's what we try not to change how we lived our life. And he hasn't changed his life one bit. Mentally he's still perfect, same guy, still gives me a good middle finger every once in a while if I do something stupid. So he still runs the house, that's for sure.
I love it, and we're rooting for your pops there, Tony Dallas. How's is he one of the reasons why you're in baseball altogether? I'm guessing he was a big fan and a player himself. Yeah,
he was a player himself. We actually before he ended his baseball playing journey, he was playing at the same JUCO that I went to. So I always think that's pretty cool.
Awesome, that's very cool, man. I love it. Awesome. What was your favorite team growing up?
Like pro team?
Yeah, MLB.
The Astros.
Okay,
I'm only an hour and a half
course.
away. Hometown, not hometown, but the closest hometown to it. So I had to. The Astros are my guys.
Well, I'll be honest, way better than the Rangers anyway, so you're good. You had to pick.
Yeah. My buddy did just made his debut for the Rangers, Grant Anderson. So maybe
nice.
I got to root for them every once in a while now.
There you go.
Only when he's pitching.
Okay, well, we'll give you that one exception.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so we're gonna do some. I call them extracurricular questions here, so they're not as baseball focused. What's your favorite movie of all time?
Oh man, of all time, I'm gonna give the movie I've seen the most. So I'll just go with that one. Is The Greatest Showman. I think I've seen it around like 15 times. I love that movie.
That's great.
Yeah,
it is a great movie. It is a great movie. What about favorite baseball movie?
Ooh, favorite baseball movie. Oh, I can't think of the name of it. All right, I'll go. I love Sandlot. Sandlot's my favorite one, or Benchwarmers. It's a silly one, but always gets me. And then there's one about a Texas JUCO, and I just can't think of the name of it off the top of my head. It's about this baseball team at a JUCO just, partying and playing ball. I think there's like a 35-year-old tries out for the team. I don't know. It just
everybody wants some.
Me up. Yeah, exactly. Is that what it's called?
That's what it's called. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's right. Wasn't that a fun one? That was great.
I like that movie buddy. A lot. Yeah. I think I saw it for the first time, I think like 2 years ago too. So
I love the scene in it where the top hitter refuses to speak to any of the pitchers in case later in, he doesn't want to give a
Exactly.
mental edge to them. Yeah, pretty
Yeah,
funny. I love it.
exactly.
Yeah. What's your favorite drink? Like, are you a beer guy, or are you more lean towards a stiffer drink?
No, I like, yeah, give me a Miller Lite or
Yeah.
any light beer, but I always mess around. People ask me why I drink Miller Lite. I mean, it's the only thing I could, that's the only thing my dad drank, so that's the only thing I could get from the fridge. So
You're like, I developed a taste for it. It's
yeah, if it's the only thing there, you got to find a way to like it.
Oh, that's great. I love that. Are you a hat guy outside of the ballpark?
I am. I actually just made a bet with one of my teammates about this hat, but so yeah, I usually have a hat, and I wear a hat more often when I have long hair because it's not brushed under here. So I just try to push it back, let it
Oh,
flow
I
out a
hear you.
little
I
bit.
hear you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
even
hat
I've got the
everywhere I
wings
go.
coming out, and
Oh
it's
yeah,
nice to keep it all out of your eyes and stuff,
oh
right?
yeah, hat, beanie,
Um,
something like that.
are you strictly
Hold,
a
hold
ball
on,
cap
hold on,
guy?
hold on, hold on. I
Oh,
gotta jump in here.
Uh,
We can't let this. I got a bet about this hat thing slide without knowing the bet.
Yeah, I mean, it was not a crazy bet, but I think I bought this hat like 2 days ago, and I've worn it the first 2 days that I bought it. So he just, I think he bet me if I could wear it 2 weeks in a row without missing a day. Uh, I don't
yeah,
think it's that hard if it's the
yeah,
only
you're
hat I
gonna
put in
nail
front
it.
of Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's only hat. We're on the road right now. It's only hat I brought. Got to wear a hat. So first week's gonna be easy, and then yeah, I think we'll put a couple Miller Lights on it. We'll see.
There. You want to flip it around? What hat are you wearing there, Chad?
I haven't taken any of the stickers off, but it's the Fisher Cats they're the New Hampshire chicken tenders at one point this season, and
Amazing.
next year they're doing like this I guess like New Hampshire like buffalo sauce chicken tender. That's why you get like the sauce and the hotness, I
I
guess. So
love it.
yeah,
Oh, that's
that's why.
very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. So are you a ball cap only guy? Because I'm wondering because we had Hagen Danner on the show recently, and
Yeah.
Haggy D, for lack of a better term, I call it a Mountie hat. That's the Canadian in me, but it's like
Oh yeah.
the big wide brim kind of, not
Mm-hmm.
a cowboy hat, but you know what I'm talking about, right? Do
Oh
you do
yeah.
you hat outside of the ball cap?
Um, um, no, no. It's usually like I have a rotation of like golf hats that I keep around. But baseball hat or golf hat, something like that. Something, a trucker hat with the mesh, something like
Yeah,
that.
me too. Me
Yeah,
too.
but
Yeah.
nothing too stylish.
You let the hair do the talking. I like it.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, we're gonna go to listener questions here before we let you get out of here, Chad. But honestly, man, it's always a pleasure talking baseball with you, my friend. We're always rooting for you and appreciate you taking the time to chat some ball with us.
Gotcha. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, so this first one is from Morgan, and I thought it was a good one just because we've already talked your pops a bit here.
Mm-hmm.
He says, with Father's Day coming up, Chad, what's the best Father's Day gift you think you've ever got your dad?
Oh man. Well, I think this year is what me and my brother who plays with Clearwater Phillies, or Clearwater Threshers with the Phillies right now. We got him, or we got some custom cleats that have to do with ALS, and they're like about him. Got some it's like baby blue, Carolina bluish, and then everything else, like the letters and everything, are more of a dark blue to kind of pop out. And we wore those on June, Lou Gehrig's Day, and then we're gonna send them home. I think send like one each, sign them, and let him put them up in his office. And the way he reacted when we send him a picture is, I think these are the best ones for it.
Amazing. I love that, dude.
Other
That's
than
great.
that, I don't know. Maybe like an iPhone charger or something. I don't know. He
Yeah.
he likes having a lot of chargers. So
Yeah. Well, you got to have those
yeah,
devices ready to go,
yeah,
right?
exactly. His phone I don't think has ever gone under 90. I don't think. It's always on a charger.
I love that. He's one of those guys, eh? Just always
Oh
ready and
yeah.
charged.
Oh yeah.
All right. This next question is from Daniel, and he says, at what point, Chad, in your baseball career, did you stop watching Major League Baseball games regularly?
I think I watch more MLB baseball than I used to. Um, yeah, I think now that I'm like that I've met a couple of the guys,
Right.
heck, now having a couple of friends from college being in the show right now, like um, Garrett Crochet at the White Sox, or Ben Joyce with the Angels now. Like I got to
Right.
play with those guys for a year each, and so I think it's really cool getting to see those guys, and then the guys that I've met through the Blue Jays, just the big league guys, getting to watch them
Yeah.
play is cooler to me. Seeing them as like that I've met them once or twice, maybe not necessarily like know them, but just like meeting them and then seeing it is cool. I don't know. I get bored easily, so if the game's going too slow, I'll turn it off. So I definitely watch more now.
Okay, last question here. This one is from Foster. He says, with your current real life athletic skill set, if the Blue Jays organization were to host an internal Olympics for players and staff, which two events would you submit your name for competing in and why?
Not anything that has to do with jumping, because one of my very good buddies, Connor Cook, is going to blow everybody in the org out of the water. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
It does not matter which jumping it is. He's going to destroy it.
Is he the guy at the gym who just like he's stacking boxes to do his jumps?
Yeah. We have every day after we pitch, we have to go in and do basically like a vert test, just see how our body's recovering. And the numbers he puts up, you don't even want to be in the room when he's jumping, and you damn sure can't jump after him. So, but I guess, I don't know, man, it's got to be a field because I'm not that fast, but I could maybe launch a javelin. I don't know. Maybe.
That's what I was going to say. I'm like, what about a throwing event? Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do discus and javelin. See if we can chunk the discus. Javelin. Yeah, something like that.
Right on. Honestly, Cheese, such a pleasure, my man. Again, big congratulations on getting the call up to AA. This is just the beginning. We're rooting for you, and we'll bug you again soon. Have you back on.
Of course, I'd love to. Thank you.
All right, buddy. Take care.